Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Thursday. It's March 1st. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Friday, so this will be our last chart lesson for this week. Another really nice day. It looked like we were going to be a range day. I mean, we were in a range really until about lunchtime when we broke lower here. And once we broke lower, it's kind of off to the races. There's a bigger two-tier channel here. It didn't really help you because by the time you got the third touch of your uh, trend line up here and your confirmation, it's really late in the day. Only thing it would have helped you with if you drew it and drug it down to the lows and started dragging it would have given you an idea. If it didn't bounce here, I would have drug it over to this side, but it ends up bouncing here. So it would have given you an idea where to expect the turn. And so it would have helped you in some degree, but you really didn't need it. I mean, this looks really messy, but there's just so much going on here. But technically, I would have probably played the range until right here. Once we went lower here, then it's pretty much all downhill from there. So let me back out. We'll talk about the trades. Um, I'm a little late getting this done, and I need to be out of here. So, but it's a really good day, so I want to try to go through all the trades. So I'm going to try to take the time to do this right, but I'm not going to dilly-dally around because there's quite a few of them. So, but early on it looked like a range. We're just moving up and forward. We had we took off here a little spurt up, but we turned and reversed real quickly and headed the other direction. So, but the last 3 days, I think this is the third day in a row that prices have gone somewhat sideways or up a little bit, and then in the afternoon, the big sell-off. You can see, we had the same thing yesterday. We rallied a little bit and then sold off. We really just kind of going sideways and then sell off, and then the day before that, same kind of thing. We were kind of going sideways, rallied, and then sold off. Seemed like maybe Monday and Tuesday we were up some, we rallied some, but this started, or actually no, this was 23rd. I can't even remember. Today's Thursday, so this would have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So now I can't even get the days right. But anyway, so this is Thursday, so Wednesday, this was Tuesday, and this was Monday. So we rallied Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday. So yeah, it looks like we rallied Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and today we had the late afternoon sell-off. So, but anyway, let's talk about the trades. When I came in, we didn't have a very big price action spread here. We worked down, and then we were working back up when I came in. We just bounced off the low a couple hours prior or so. But there's a nice reversal here. Let me make it a little bigger. It's still kind of hard to see. And with all this volatility, the bars are still going to continue to be a little bigger. If this continues, tomorrow and Monday, you might consider looking at a 1500 tick chart. People keep asking me that, and that's a possibility, but it just depends on how the market goes. When it starts to continue like that for days on end, I definitely think it's worth switching. But just about the time you switch, then something will change or it'll die off. And so, I want to see some convincing evidence that it's going to last for, more than a couple of days. So we'll see. But anyway, we bounced here. You get a first entry short, second entry short. It fails. The only problem is you're still a little bit below the EMA, and you don't really have your trend line confirmed because that's your first two swings. So you might consider that one. It fits the criteria, but I'd rather see if it comes back again and it actually breaks lower here and turns and goes out the other side. That's the better place to enter, and it just takes off right there. You get another little jog back here, but you had a close outside. You actually overshot it and then had a little close outside, and it moved to a new high. We still got a close outside. A lot of times if this happens in the overnight, you can almost ignore this though. So But we move higher. You get a second entry short right here that you could have considered, but there's a little bit of overlap. That's not a perfect bar. Then it shoots up and turns down, and you get a first entry, pull back second entry, and that's right off the trend line. Signal bar's kind of bullish, but it doesn't matter. It's a failed second entry long. You're probably going to trap people, and you can see once it turned down how it shot down real quick. Then it comes back, and this is a double top, so you're moving down first entry, moving down second entry, it fails, and look at that bearish bar right on the trend line again there. Another good place to, it's right into that low, but we're probably headed down here. So, and it's a little bit away from the EMA, but I would be looking for a measured move here. There's your first move. And so you're looking for prices down here, and you can see we went all the way back down a little lower than that actually, and tested the previous overnight low and for a bounce. So I like entering there, and then it bounces. You got a little channel working up here. You got to close outside and you try to go higher, but you don't really get a good setup here until you make this lower high. And look how bearish that is. I like going short right there. And you're just looking for it to test this low and make a new low maybe, and it moves on down. Then you get a close outside of this little trend line, moves to a new low, and it reverses. That bar is way too big. It's right into the EMA. So it bounces here, but like I said, the bar is just too big. You're moving up. You got a short-term trend line. You probably could work it off that swing and say, hey, you got two swings. But either way, you get a failed second entry short there. And you're a little bit away from the EMA here. I wasn't sure if this trend line was correct or not. I'm more apt to believe that's the right one, and this is your move up. But when it tried to go, so it is a failed second entry short though, so you might go long there. I think you're better off to wait. And when it tries to go lower again and fails and goes up, I like going and entering then. And you can see it didn't go far. It got plenty to get a scalp, but then it just rockets straight down again. And but we just came off the low, so the odds are we're probably going higher. I would play this one out properly. Notice you got a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This one doesn't really fail. You can almost treat it like one, but with this closing outside what it looks like the trend line here, I wasn't sure. So again, just kind of wait and see, and notice it does come back and gives you and that's what's happening here. When you don't get a perfect setup, these traders kind of wait and see, and then when you get another attempt to go lower that fails and you get a bullish bar, then they jump in. And this one actually does it yet again. So from this low, this is really not a new swing low. So this was your failed second entry short here, but I wasn't even going to mark it because this trend line's still in play, and the other things I just talked about. You're below the EMA. You're actually closing outside the possible trend line. This is actually a midline. I usually make them a little lighter just to clarify that. But I like entering here, and if you didn't enter here, you definitely want to enter on this one, and you might even add on. I like adding on right there because we're probably headed to here. And they just trap some people, and notice what happens then. It takes off like a rocket. This is a double bottom here, so you could treat this like a failed second entry short, but you're right back up to the highs again. This was the overnight high, so I don't think you want, after just turning down from there, I don't think you want to enter there. You don't really have any confirmation of this trend line until here. There's your third touch. Now you're on the other side of the trend line, or the resistance line here. And so I don't want to be getting long way up there that far away from the EMA. You just kind of got to watch this one. If you didn't get it, if you got in down here, you could have ridden this all the way, but on either one of these. But if you didn't get in down here, you just kind of got to watch that one because it's just too risky to get in. Obviously, you probably figure you're headed to the upper trend channel line, but I just think it's too risky with this having been the overnight highs here. And once you get above that, then you've just been away from the EMA too long. It's just a matter of time till we come back. We turn down here. I actually like this trade. I didn't mark it. It's the first close outside this, and Sometimes these will go further or may close outside and then shoot up and make a new high. So you're better to wait on a lower high. You get one here. Not a very good signal bar though. It's right into the uh, EMA. So just kind of wait and see if maybe you get the true reversal pattern, which comes here, the failed second entry long. Now you got two legs down, a failed second entry long. And so when it breaks, it's actually this bar here. When it breaks below that bar, just go short right there. Um, Shoots on down. We're not back to this trend line yet. It's walking down pretty steeply. That's a fairly bearish bar, but you've already had several swings down and you're bouncing off this lower line. It's time to go back to the other one. So I'm just not crazy about entering either one of those. And, you know, we've been away from the EMA now since way back up here. It comes back again. And any of those would have worked, but you don't know that ahead of time, so you just can't risk it. But you finally get a close outside this trend line, and you get a second entry short. There's a little trend working up. You get a close outside, a move to a new high, and this makes a double top right here too. Fairly bearish bar, so I like going short right there. Then it runs down, and now you got a double test and low here, but I'd wait on the higher low. Which actually comes here with a nice bar, but by that time you got all that stacking up. You could argue for that one, but I'm not going to mark it. We're not back down to the lows here yet, so we haven't made a new low. Even though we got to close here, we haven't made a new low. So I think you're better off to wait. And guess what? It comes up here. You get a little failed break higher above that double top, so it's like a double test of this level. Nice bearish bar. I like going short there. And we actually pushed up here first. And that's why a lot of times you wait on a lower high, because sometimes you'll get one more little push up that'll trap some people and then it turns down. And so that's why I didn't mark that one. You know, that's why being aggressive sometimes will get you, because you'll sometimes get one more little push up or whatever. And that's what happened here. And it's still the same thing. You might have entered here and see it did break lower and try to work its way back up, so it could have done it yet again. So even this one's close to being marketed to be a green one, but generally once you get faked out like that once, if it turns down again, you're probably going lower. And then it runs down here and it fails out the other side, but again, and this is a range, so it's probably going to snap back just like it snapped down here. But we traded down into this, and our target is the lower side. So I'm a little leery of going long right here. You could mark it green if you want to be aggressive. But I think you're better off to wait on the lower high, which came here. And notice how it closed inside, and then it kind of takes off. It still kind of goes sideways a little bit here before it takes off. And then it runs up and it pushes right through, pulls back, runs up here and tests this. And again, it's turning down right off that original overnight high. And that's a fairly bearish bar. But again, you probably should wait on that lower high for the reasons we discussed. Although you do have an overshoot here. But your lower, it actually went higher and turns and goes down. So if you wait, you're better off entering there. And this thing takes off. And if you catch this, you know, you can at least I'd probably exit down here, because this is the overnight lows where you would look for it to turn and go the other direction, and it starts going sideways. So this would have been a good target to exit at. But notice what happens. You get a new low here. You actually push through a little bit. You come back. You make a higher low here. This is actually a second entry long, because that makes a new swing high. Pull back first entry. Pull back second entry. It closes inside that overnight support line that we were using earlier, and sometimes you'll catch the low of the day here. Wasn't the case today, but you still got a nice easy scalp out of that. There's actually a little bit of a trend line working up right through here, and you get a close outside a new high. So if you get a lower high, you might consider going short, but it's right into this overnight low. But when it tries to go higher again and fails, I like entering there. It's still a little bit aggressive, because you notice you got 3 bars in a row that couldn't close, couldn't get through there, that all closed right on that line. So that makes it suspect, but if you catch this one, it takes off again. And once it started lower there, again there, I would have measured this leg and looked for a possible measured move down right there. And you can see that's exactly, I mean, almost to the tick, and then we bounced again. It ends up going lower, but that's where you would look for your target to be, right in there. And of course, that's right along the low side of this. This is the trend line working down here and then here. And then, of course, it works its way back. There's a trend working up through here. You get a close outside. And that's really just two legs up to a new high. And, of course, there's your new high. Makes a lower high here. I'm sorry for the phone. Somebody's just wearing me out on my text over there. I'm not sure who it is. It seems like every time I try to do the video, people start looking for me. So, but anyway, I apologize. You just have to bear with me. But anyway, you make a lower high here, and this is the first close outside this trend line. And nice bearish bar. I like going short there. Here's your true reversal pattern. It pushes through the MMA. Failed second entry long. It's a fairly neutral bar, but it doesn't matter. It's a trap. Takes off. It actually pulls back and tries that line one more time. But now you're getting right into that. That's the low of the day. And so I'm a little less, I'm a little more leery about entering right there because it may break lower and it may make one tick or two and then bounce, but it doesn't. It just keeps going lower. It actually comes back here. You get a little close outside, push to a new high, and that's a fairly bearish bar. I didn't mark that one, but technically it should, I should have marked it at least green. There's a little bit of overlap there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. That is a doji right there. And so but this market's looking really bearish at this point. So I'll mark it green. I'm not willing to give that one a red one. But look what happens. You move down first entry long, pull back second entry long, and right off that trend line, you get a failed second entry long. I like that one. And we're probably headed to the other side. And it's possible that we're headed, if you're getting a measured move down based on this upper channel, then, we've actually already hit that, but there's still a chance that actually, no, I'm sorry, we hadn't yet. So that's where you're looking for. Once you come back here, that's where you're expecting prices to go. But at this point, you're still looking for them just to come to this line. And so you still got plenty of room. And it bounces. There's a second entry short here, but you're right in you just came off the low, so you got to be a little careful. You at least want to get a break and then move to a new high, and you get that break and a move to a new high, and this just starts going sideways. But notice there's a little tick. You may not can see this right here, but this is like a double test. There's a little break, one tick higher it turns, and it goes all the way out the other side. So when it did that, I like going short right there. Now, if you waited till this closed and this backs back up, and it's still a relatively bullish bar, but by that time, now you got 4 bars stacked up there, and a couple of them, this one at least right here looks like a doji. So, but when this one went higher and turned and went out all the way on one bar, I like, if you saw that and it did that on your chart, I wouldn't have a problem with you having your sell stop in place. But once this closed, I wouldn't enter below that. I'd wait and see if you got something better. See, it does come back and test it, but then you still don't get a very good setup. And now you're back into these, this last low and this low. And you actually get a failed second entry long here. Pull back first entry, move down second entry. But that's your low of your day. You don't have a whole lot of room. I'd be okay with that one. I really would, if you want to be aggressive. But just going that late in the day, that low, I'm just a little leery of it. Of course, and then we bounce again. And now it just looks like we're in a range. You've got some real strong resistance here. There's a trend line working right up through there. You can see it. You get your close outside. There's a move to a new high, but I don't see any reason to be going long now. I think you're you just want to stick to shorts until we prove that this downtrend's over. And we're definitely going sideways, but again, we traded down into this. The afternoon's been very bearish. But notice you get a close outside, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It's a little failed break above this resistance. And on the second entry short, I like taking that. Normally I'd say wait on the lower high, and you get one here, but now you're back close to these lows again. And at that point, I'd move this up. You can see that right there. And it still probably fits better there. But I kind of moved it down. Once you make a lower low, you start trying to, make sure you're getting the most touches and stuff. But at that point, that was right into these lows, so I don't like that one. It actually went higher and turned. If you got in right there, I'm okay with it. So we'll mark it green based on that fact. But otherwise, I wouldn't go short right here. It's a huge bar. It's right into this double bottom. Be real careful. And then, of course, now you're off the lows. You get your bounce, and then you get a higher low here. And that's more bullish than bearish. But if it was one tick lower, it's almost, maybe two ticks, it's almost a perfect doji. So I'm a little leery of that one. And again, you don't want to be going long. So you just skip it. And, of course, you're moving up. You get another push out the upside. And a nice bearish bar. It's right off the midline as well, but I like going short there. Here's your lower high. You still got room here, so I like going short on that one. And then you just never really got anything else. We just kind of went sideways here into the 2 o'clock hour. Eventually we broke lower. We failed out the low side and went higher. And the rest of the day we just kind of went sideways. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't risk any longs, even though there's some down here that fit the criteria because we're trading down and the bias is so strongly down. I mean, if you back out, it's kind of hard to see right there. But if you back out, we did come off the low, but on a strong trend like this, you may correct and just go sideways all the way across here to get to the other side. And that's what it looked like it was about to do before it bounced and got up into the upper side of this two-tiered channel, and those sides crawling down that all the way. So this was a good day, and there's so many trades here, it's ridiculous. But you only need a couple or three of them, one or two or three of them, to make some really good money, especially when you catch runners like you could today. So I'm backing out here just so you can see the day again. But early it was sideways with a failed break out the top. And then like we have the last few days, after about lunchtime, it starts to sell off and you get that late afternoon. We actually started a little early today, and by late afternoon, we really just went sideways. So the damage occurred a little earlier today than what we have been doing. But it's still kind of the same pattern where you go sideways, get a little rally, and then sell off. So still a little bit of it's the same, and so you would expect that to maybe happen today. But I talked about this with another trader, so since it's on my mind, I'll think about it. Even though you might figure that, hey, because we've done this the last couple of days, it may do it again today. That's great, but don't make sure the price action is actually doing that. Don't try to guess that that's what's happened, because you may try to get short right in here and then it bounce like it did and just stop you out and then go lower. So always follow the price action. I mean, part of what we want to do is read it and read it properly so that we kind of have an idea where it's going, but don't trade based on your thought process there. Make sure the price action proves it out. So draw your short-term stuff and make sure you're following that, you're following the trend lines. And once again, I want to wrap this up because we're almost 30 minutes here. But look where all your key entry points were. Early on, they were off the lows or the highs or the trend lines working up or down. But once we got into this bigger day, look where this big move started off this key entry point. Of course, you couldn't have found that till here, but then you get back and look where your next big move comes from. Coming down here, look where your big moves generate right off this trend line here, this key entry point right here, right here, right here, right here. I mean, That's why we want to find these trend lines and these key entry points, because that's where all the magic happens. Same thing going up here. Look where the big move came up off these lows, off this trend line. Boom, we got a nice move. Boom, big move coming down. Boom, boom. And I mean, that's why we want to find these locations, because that's where all the magic happens. So just keep that in mind. But I'm going to wrap it up. We're getting 30 minutes into this thing, like I said, and I want to wrap it up. Wrap the week up. Wrap the week up. I didn't want to come out correctly. I apologize. I want to wrap up this week and get out of here. But we'll be back again to do it Monday. Hope you had a good trading week. Enjoy this volatility while we've got it. Be careful, but at the same time, you know, it's scary, and it can trip you up if you're not careful. But at the same time, when you're reading it right and you're feeling it, you can really take advantage of these trends. So I hope that you do that. And but I'm done for today. We'll be back again Monday. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.